can't believe what Abena went through just because she was poor and selling oranges by the roadside. The rich kids laughed at her, mocked her every single day, and even told her she would never become anything in life. But what happened years later shocked the entire town. Before I tell you what happened, like this video, subscribe, and comment if you want more powerful stories like this. The scorching sun burned down on the busy streets of Accra. Traders shouted, cars honked, and the smell of roasted corn mixed with dust filled the air. In the middle of the noise, a small girl balanced a tray of oranges on her head. Her name was Abena, and she was only 12. Her clothes were faded, her slippers nearly broken, but her eyes carried a quiet strength. Every day after school, children in neatly ironed uniforms would laugh when they saw her. "Look at the orange girl," they shouted. "She will never be more than a hawker." The loudest among them was Adwa, a rich man's daughter. She often waved her fancy lunchbox in Abena's face, mocking her. "You think selling oranges will make you rich? Maybe one day you can wash my car," Adwa sneered, and her friends burst into laughter. Abena would lower her gaze, swallow her pain, and keep walking. She never answered back. Deep inside, her heart burnt, but she had learned something her late mother always told her. Poverty is not shameful, laziness is. Those words gave her courage each time she was insulted. Life was not easy. Abena's father had fallen sick and could no longer work. Her older brother had dropped out of school to do carpentry. Abena refused to give up her education, so she sold oranges after class to pay her school fees and buy books. Sometimes she went to bed hungry, but she never complained. The insults grew worse as weeks passed. Some people mocked her in the marketplace too. One woman laughed and said, "Why waste time in school? Just accept your life, poor girl." Abena said nothing, but her heart whispered, "One day I will prove them wrong." What kept her going was a secret dream. She wanted to become a businesswoman, someone who would employ others and build something great. She didn't know how, but she believed it was possible. That evening, after a long day of hawking, Abena sat on a wooden bench near the roadside. The streetlight flickered above her, casting a weak glow. She pulled out her torn notebook and began to write down notes from her lessons. The unsold oranges rested beside her, and her stomach rumbled with hunger. Yet, her hand kept moving across the page. She refused to let tiredness steal her dream. Cars passed by without noticing the little girl under the light. Some pedestrians looked at her and shook their heads. But Abena was lost in her studies, mouthing the words quietly as she read. Then suddenly, a shiny black car slowed down. The tinted window rolled down halfway. A woman's face appeared, her eyes fixed on Abena. She watched the poor girl bent over her notebook with such seriousness despite the tray of oranges at her side. The woman did not drive away. She parked the car and stepped out, her heels clicking against the pavement. She walked closer, curious. Abena felt a shadow fall over her notebook. She raised her head, her eyes wide. The woman smiled gently and asked, "My dear, why are you studying here at this hour?" The woman bent down and looked into Abena's eyes. "My name is Madam Serwaa," she said softly. "Why are you here, studying under a streetlight, with oranges by your side?" Abena swallowed hard. For a moment, she thought of lying, but something in the woman's kind eyes gave her courage. "My family is poor," Abena admitted. "I sell oranges to help pay my school fees. I don't have electricity at home, so I study here." Madam Serwaa's heart tightened. She was an educationist and a businesswoman known for helping less privileged children, but she had never seen determination this strong. She touched Abena's shoulder and said, "Keep selling your oranges for now, but tomorrow meet me at my office. I want to help you." Abena's eyes widened. "Help me? How?" "You will see," Madam Serwaa replied with a smile before walking back to her car. That night, Abena barely slept. Could this be real or just another empty promise? The next morning, Abena carried her oranges,
but also went to Madam Serwaa's office. To her shock, the woman had already paid her school fees for the year and promised to sponsor her education until university. Tears rolled down Abena's cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you, Ma. I won't disappoint you." True to her word, Abena studied harder than ever. She faced many challenges, mockery from classmates, hunger at times, and the heavy burden of expectations. But she never gave up. She became the top student in her school, then won a scholarship to study business administration at the university. Years flew by. Abena grew into a confident, brilliant young woman. After graduating with honors, she started her own company, producing fruit juice from local farms. Her business grew quickly, creating jobs for hundreds of people. She became a symbol of hope for many poor children who once felt forgotten. One afternoon, a grand business conference was held in the city. Leaders, entrepreneurs, and young graduates filled the hall. The guest speaker was none other than Abena Mensah, the girl who once hawked oranges on the street. She walked to the stage in an elegant dress, her voice calm and powerful as she spoke about resilience, hard work, and faith. But in the crowd sat a group of familiar faces, Adwa and her friends, the same ones who had mocked her years ago. Life had not been kind to them. Some were unemployed, some struggling with debt. They stared in disbelief, whispering, "Is that really Abena, the orange girl?" Shame burned in their eyes as they remembered their cruel laughter. They tried to hide, but after her speech, Abena stepped down from the stage and walked straight toward them. Their hearts raced. Would she mock them back? Would she humiliate them before the crowd?
Adwa lowered her head, unable to meet Abena's gaze. But instead of anger, Abena smiled warmly and said, "Don't be afraid. Life teaches us all lessons. If you are willing to work hard, I have opportunities in my company. You can join me." The group gasped. Instead of revenge, she offered forgiveness. Instead of pride, she showed humility. Moral lesson: never mock anyone for their humble beginnings. Life can change in ways you cannot imagine. Poverty is not a curse, but laziness and arrogance are. Hard work, humility, and kindness will always open doors in the future.